Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to quickly go over how to build Kazuha. Kazuha is a 5-star Anemo support that specializes in crowd controlling and increasing elemental damage based on his elemental mastery. Now let's quickly go over his skills. His first skill is the generic normal attack, charge attack, etc. His second skill, whenever you press the skill, he does a spin that sucks in enemies, allowing you to plunge, dealing even more damage. And when you hold this skill is a greater AoE version of the press, but dealing more damage and more crowd control. The damage of the skill deals animal damage, and it has 2 separate cooldowns per press and hold. For his third skill, he basically deals a big AoE slash, dealing animal damage and continuously dealing animal damage. And whenever this skill comes in contact with Hydro, Pyro, or Cryo, it will also deal that additional elemental damage on top of the Anemo damage. It has a 60 energy cost, a 50-second cooldown, and a duration of 8 seconds. And now on to the passives. His first passive, whenever his second skill comes in contact with any of the elements, it will deal additional damage of that element. His second passive, which is his biggest ones, is whenever he does a swirl reaction with any of the elements, he will grant all party members 0.04% elemental damage bonus based on his elemental mastery for 8 seconds. Bonuses for different elements can coexist at the same time, but one important detail that you may not know about his elemental absorption is that it has priorities. It prioritizes the order that it absorbs the element that is present in the situation that you are using him. For example, if an enemy is applied with Hydro, but you are applied with Pyro, he will prioritize in absorbing Pyro instead of Hydro. The order that he prioritizes is from Pyro, Hydro, Electro, and Cryo. So keep that in mind in the element that you are planning or wanting to absorb with his skills. And his third passive decreases consumption of sprinting stamina for your party members. Talent priority, you level up in second skill first, and then his burst and his first one can be just whatever. He is a sword user, and on screen here's all the swords that are useful on him. I'm gonna narrow down the best swords to use on him. The first one is the F2P weapon, the Iron Sting, which is the mainstay of elemental mastery, because you definitely want to give him a lot of elemental mastery. Vivonius is really good for providing energy to your teammate and for making sure he can proc his burst consistently. You can also think about using Sacrificial Sword if you want to double jump, which will provide more crowd control. But when looking into the 5-star weapons, only 2 come to mind. Freedom Sword, which is his best in slot 5-star weapon you can get to, because the main stat is elemental mastery and provides more than just EM, it also provides attack percentage. And the second one, just in case you want him to crit, is also J Cutter, which is basically beneficial on any sword hand user, which just works well on Kazuha. In terms of artifact sets, there's only one main set to go for, and that is the VV set, because he can consistently proc the 4-piece set, because this is the set that you mainly put on any Anemo support that you have, and it decreases the elemental resistance of the element infused in the swirl. And for stats on your artifacts, you mainly want to go for elemental mastery from your sands, your goblet, and your circlet. You can go for crit stats, but that will be a lot more harder to min-max. If you're struggling to get triple elemental mastery on your sands, goblet, and circlet, then you just simply give him a crit rate circlet and an Anemo goblet. And for constellations, my Kazuha is currently a C1, but for FTP players, you don't really need to go for any constellations. He works really well at C0, but if you're interested in pulling constellations, then the only time and the only constellation you really need to pull for is C2, because not only when you use his burst, he increases his own elemental mastery by 200, but also the character within his burst by 200 as well. So for short, if you're FTP, you don't really need to pull for constellations, but if you do, only go for it if you're going to go for C2. And for short, the kind of team composition that you could do with him is basically any team that needs an Anemo support. He can be used in any team comp. Him and Bennett work very well together, so I highly recommend you use these two together. And that is all you need to know about building Kazuha. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, subscribe for more content in the future, check me out on Twitch, the link will be in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.